Why do I like Prince so much? Let's have an intelligent discussion and discuss why. Hmm. Welcome to the 2020 season. And a question comes up. Why do I like Prince so much? People walk up to me and go, Tane, look, enough of the Prince already. Why do you think he's so great? I mean, seriously. Yes. And do you tell them that maybe you should roll over it with your motorcycle? What do you need them for? All you need is me. Life's a bitch. Is my attempt at comedy. Okay. Yeah. Why should he do your music for? You've been getting along fine just without it. Next thing you know, you'll be wanting to use his motorcycle. Okay, seriously though, let's attract this issue because this is something which I do catch a bit of heat about, and I think all of us as Prince fans, we definitely get this question: what is so great about Prince? Why do we like Prince so much, basically? And it's a good question. I mean, I feel like all of us have kind of answered this through various videos, and I've done videos where I've been reviewing Prince music and I've been talking about albums as they come out. I've also, dealt with certain, albums and eras and analysed them and things. And I've also even talked about how I got into Prince and, what songs did it for me and what my favourite Prince songs and albums are. But the big question at the end of the day is, why do I have so much admiration for Prince? And why is it that of all the artists and all the music I could talk about, I decided just to deal exclusively with Prince? I mean, okay, I've done a couple of Michael Jackson videos and the David Bowie one, but you guys want me to watch this channel for the sole reason that I'm a big Prince fan, basically. Yep. And, anyone noticing anything different about this room, but I'll let you in on a secret end. There's an Easter egg hiding in this video. I'll give you a clue. If you're looking at the screen, you'll see above the purple wall, you'll see two new pictures have arrived, and they've got absolutely nothing to do with Prince, but I'll talk about those later. Okay, basically, in a lot of ways, I mean, when people like a musical artist, I mean, not half the time when you think of music fans, you think of like, teenage girls screaming over the latest boy band act. Like, I know who the latest one is now. 5 Seconds of Summer, Ed Sheeran, Lewis Capaldi, all those types of artists, who basically got great looks. They have a couple of songs. Okay, they can play a bit of guitar, but generally their music isn't very deep, and usually their attraction to their songs goes off, after they've finished having hits or something. I mean, good examples, boy bands like New Kids on the Block, Bros, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, all that stuff, I mean, ask the average girl what she thinks of Backstreet Boys now, like, oh my god, that's so old. But with someone like Prince, I mean, the liking him is just really enduring, and I think that's really important. We're going to talk about this, chop up some game, get into the shit. Okay, and it's a very hard question to answer. Why do you like Prince? Yes, why do you like me? Well, first of all, I can tell you, first of all, that liking is not a sexual thing. Okay, I know there's probably a few women out there who think, oh, Prince, he's so fine, I want to do that, boy. But that ain't me. I mean, I've never been sexually attracted to the dude, I mean. To me, I mean, sexual attraction to a musical artist is very little reason why I like their music in the first place. To me, it's all about the music, and I think with Prince, overall, the main reason for liking Prince so much is just his sheer breadth of musical talent. I mean, I've got a plan here because I would really want to try and plan what I'm saying. Well, I'll let the words flow freely. Because he just has a lot of musical talent. I mean, come on, when you think of most of the musical artists out these days, I mean, a lot of them, they sing. That's all they do is they sing. They might pluck a few chords on the guitar. They might even be able to play some organ and drums. But with Prince did it all, basically. I mean, he did all the singing, all the composing. And even with some of the singing now, I mean, it's auto-tuned singing. I mean, they don't even have good voices. Especially, and even now, I mean, musical talent isn't prized anymore. I mean, like, you look at mumble rap and you look at all these, like, skanky girls, who have got really bad voices like Keisha and Megan Trainor and, oh, I know my references sound really dated, but I'm trying to think of the last one. I mean, okay, no, not Keisha, what's that? Billie, that's her name, Billie Eilish, whatever it was. I mean, her voice sounds horrible. I mean, it's not even that good. But everyone's like, oh my god, she's so great. And then Katy Perry, oh my god, and even Taylor Swift. I mean, all their songs are just about breakup. I mean, and also the subject matter of these other artists' songs is mostly nihilistic. It's all about partying. It's all about love and sex and doing drugs and partying and, spending money. I mean, and Prince was never really like that. Okay, he sang a lot about sex, but he always sang about intelligent shit too. Okay, so basically I'm going to break it into sections. First of all, I mean, we have to define what a musician is. I mean, basically, a lot of people say, oh, Prince is a singer. That's actually wrong. Prince is not a singer. Prince is so much more than a singer. To me, a singer is a person who just merely sings songs that other people write for them. Like a good example is Olivia Newton-John and Elvis Presley. I mean, 90% of the time, they don't write their own music. They just sing it. And realistically, in the music trade, if you're only a singer, you're not writing songs, you're not making that much money. All you're basically getting is a percentage of royalties for performing the songs, basically. With Prince Prince was doing everything. Okay, so and then you've got like an artist. An artist is kind of like they might write a few songs or play some instruments and things. You know, I mean, they might even run a band. You know, a good example of an artist is maybe someone like I don't know, say David Bowie. You know, and okay, or maybe that's wrong. He's probably more a musician like Prince, but let me think of an artist. Okay, maybe like say the lead singer of the Eagles, or maybe Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. That's an artist basically. All right. And then we get into musicians. Now, musicians are ones who do everything, and normally musicians aren't usually reserved for pop. Prince is a case where he's a pop R&B artist, but other people who are musicians, these are people who write songs, they play the songs, they perform and sing. They've all got musical talent in singing and all the instruments. You know, they can conduct bands on stage. They basically run big shows. You know, they produce outside acts and stuff. I mean, excellent examples of musicians are people like Stevie Wonder, Prince, and I know some of my Caucasian members want to hear some white names. Okay, definitely David Bowie, the Beatles, all of them, Bob Dylan, you know, all these people who they just write and produce all their own music. Elton John even. Okay, I know Bernie writes the words, but Elton pretty much conducts everything on stage, and apparently he can play all the instruments, and he's definitely, you know, a great artist as well as a musician. Yep, so that's part of the reason why. I mean, Prince to me is a real artist, I mean, musician. So when people say, oh, Prince, he's just a singer who sings about sex, that's actually quite degrading in a lot of ways, because that's really minimizing his talent. So we're going to break down this level of musician talent Prince has. First of all, it's instrument playing. Okay, for as far as we know, I mean, I know in the early days there was this big gimmick over how many instruments Prince could play. You know, like everybody knows, first of all, most artists, they can play instruments, but they're really good on one instrument, or they're really good singers. Like, take Michael Jackson, his singing and dancing was his best instrument. I mean, he could play a bit of guitar and a bit of organ, apparently, but he was hardly a musical virtuoso. Now, Prince, he's not just a guitarist, he is an awesome guitarist. I mean, he shreds on the guitar, yet he can just sit back and play rhythm guitar too. He also plays the bass and plays it incredibly well. He's an amazing drummer. You know, he plays the keyboards, he plays all the percussion instruments, you know, all the wind chimes and bells and fuzz bears and everything else. And plus also, on top of that, Prince can play all the musical instruments. The only thing he probably can't play is a saxophone, but I'm sure if he sat down and tried, he probably would have been able to. He just knows music, and even the people he couldn't play, he got the best players, and people like Eric Leeds and Eddie M to play the saxophones and the horns, basically. So Prince is constantly, he can play just about any instrument. When Prince wrote his songs, he wrote all the music in, he wrote all the instrumental parts, he played the instrumental parts. You think of it, when you watch a Prince show, basically, and you see like all the band on stage, doesn't matter how big the MPG are and how talented each player is, the fact remains is they're all playing Prince's music. Prince wrote all the music and composed it. To me, that is just phenomenal. So, I mean, it's not just that he plays the instruments, but he plays them really well. There's a big difference between, like, say, Mick Jagger, who strums a few chords on the guitar. Prince is doing is fucking shredding the guitar. And he's intelligent enough, too, to know really great guitarists like Wendy Melvoin and sort of, you know, like, Miko Weaver, Jesse Johnson. He knows these cats, but as good as these cats are, Prince can always do it better. You know, and the same with drummers. I mean, like, he picked up Sheila E. He's one of the greatest drummers of all time, basically. I mean, this guy is a fucking musical god, would be a way to describe it. So that's just the instrumental. Like, see, this video is already going to drag on. I'm barely into this, but the other part that makes him just amazing too is Prince's songwriting ability. I mean, some of the greatest songs ever have been written by Prince. Songs like Nothing Compares to You, Adore, Crucial, Moonbeam Levels, you know, 1999, Little Red Corvette, When Doves Cry, Kiss, Cream. You know, these are songs which are just pieces of genius work. I mean, the guy has been writing songs since he was 12 or 13. He pretty much was writing and composing right up to his death. He is just an amazing songwriter. You think about the hits he's given to other people like Manic Monday, Love Thy Will Be Done. You know, I mean, he's just one of the greatest songwriters of all time. It's not just all lyrics about having sex and partying. I mean, a lot of his songs have deeper levels. I mean, Moonbeam Levels is about nuclear war. 1999 is also about the same thing. I mean, Money Don't Matter Tonight, you know, it's about gambling and being thankful. I mean, songs like The Cross, you know, is about religion. You know, he's just a genius. And then we just, while we're dealing with music, now with most great artists, you usually have a few classic albums. I mean, like Rolling Stones, when you think of albums like Let It Bleed and Beggar's Banquet. And I mean, the Beatles, they had about 7 or 8 great albums, but there was 4 of them for one thing, and they were all writing songs for the album. You know, and even Michael Jackson, he's got 5 classic albums, basically. Everything from Off the Wall through to History. I don't consider Invincible quite as classic. Now, when I say classic, I don't mean good. I mean albums that are considered the best ever written. But with Prince, even Stevie Wonder's got 5 classic albums, in my opinion. He's basically got Talking Book, Inner Visions, Fulfilling His First Finale, Songs in the Key of Life, and, what's the other one? Music of My Mind, I think. But I mean, that's Stevie Wonder, that guy's a genius, okay? Now with Prince, he's got, I counted up 18 albums I consider classics. I'll show them all to you. I consider all these albums classics, you might not, but most people generally do. In chronological order, Dirty Mind, classic. Controversy, a classic. 1999, a classic. Purple Rain, a classic. Around the World in a Day, a classic. Parade, a classic. Sign of the Times, the greatest classic album ever made. Love Sexy, classic. Love Symbol, another classic. The Gold Experience, a classic. 3121, it's a classic. Around Artificial Age, a classic. Hit and Run Phase 2 classic. That's 13 albums there. Plus we're going to throw in the hits and B-sides set because that's a classic collection of classic singles. We're also going to throw in basically originals because that is classic. Seriously, listen to it again. That album just grows and grows and grows on me. And of course the 1999 Super Deluxe because, and you're saying, hey, you've already said 1999. I'm talking about the Vault discs basically. I mean disc 1 and disc 2, I mean just amazing. I mean songs like Purple Music, Moonbeam Levels, Possessed, Do Yourself a Favour, Rearrange. I mean, these are just genius works, basically. This is a man, he's not just done a couple of good albums. This is just non-stop genius. And I mean, everything from Dirty Mind right through to Love Sexy. I mean, we won't say the Black Album because it didn't really come out till 1994. It's just a non-stop stream of genius music. Even Stevie only had 5 albums going from, I think, Talking Book through to Songs in the Key of Life. Some people might say Hotter Than July is a genius album. I don't quite agree. It's a bit loopy. And also in the middle you had the Less Than Satisfactory, The Secret Life of Plants. But the fact remains, this man is a one-of-a-kind genius. It's not just a bit of pleasing music, a lot of it. And also, you look at his work ethic. I mean, Prince put out something like 40 albums in his lifetime. I mean, it was virtually an album a year for a very long time. Some years it was 2, and that was just the release stuff. By the 90s, Prince was doing all the protege stuff. He was doing all the side projects like the MPG Exodus album, and he was doing, like the War and the Get Wild Experience and the Versace album. Versace! All that shit is extra. I mean, Prince just seemed to be permanently writing music. I mean, his record company could not keep up with him, And then another thing I want to talk about, another reason why the man's great in the genius is his production and studio work. I mean, Prince, from the very start, when he first went into a studio with Champagne in 1976, he wanted to stay around and work the dials. Chris Moon obviously saw something in him they didn't see in Andre and Morris, and just realised that, he wanted to, produce some material. He needed someone to help him. He saw Prince, and basically Prince's idea was, yeah, I'll do it, but you have to show me how to work this studio. And once Prince learnt that, by the time he did For You, he never looked back. He just needed to know how to work the studio. I mean, Prince was a great studio engineer. He'd have other people, engineering from like Susan Rogers because, well, there's a good reason for that. I mean, Prince is many things, but he's not Ganesh of many arms, so he could not be like, playing a guitar and singing while he's pushing the knobs on the production desk. But the fact remains is Prince can do all that. He'd produce actors. He'd have Apollonia in the studio going, come on, Apples, put some more into it, So his production and studio work, and the fact that this is a man who basically had a studio put into his first house in 78. You got the famous home studio of 1980, which we recorded Dirty Mind and Controversy on. Then you had another studio in his house in 85, and of course Paisley Park was just basically a studio come residence. Originally Prince lived separate, but eventually he demolished his home, moved into Paisley Park. Prince was a studio boffin as well as a musician and a singer, basically. And then, just to actually get to the fact Prince is singing, I mean, now you guys know there's heaps of things I love about Prince, but I always go on in my reviews about how great his singing is. I mean, Prince's falsetto, his baritone, his way how he could just make, massive layers of backing tapes of his vocals running through like a river of cream, basically. The man is one of the finest singers around. I mean, you listen to him break it down in songs like Satisfied and Dark, and then you hear his rock and roll growl in songs like, Purple Rain and I Like It There, and I mean, his screams, I mean, Prince is screaming. How many artists do all this? You think that, now we're piling up a whole lot of reasons why Prince was great. Now, tell me honestly, how many other artists can you think even can do this level of stuff, let alone do it to the level Prince does? It's not just the fact that Prince can do all these things, it's the fact he can do it greatly. Well, it's about time you recognise my genius. It took you long enough, didn't it? So, and then we get into all the other acts. I mean, the fact remains is Prince produced all these other acts, and not just, okay, some of them were silly, but that might have been through the actual artist's lack of talent rather than the lack of material. I mean, the fact remains is Prince gave us 3 really solid acts, and that was the time. I mean, the time were absolutely invincible. Okay, they brought their own spice to the act, but at the end of the day, when you listen, especially when you listen to originals, a lot of the music and a lot of the whole, image was Prince, basically. Prince portraying his fantasies of being another person through another act, basically. Then you've got Sheila Ryan. Okay, I know how much talent Sheila E. has, but realistically, it was Prince who brought everything together. Prince whispered and said, look, you should be doing your own album. Of course, I'll write all the songs and tell you how to act and dress, but you should be doing your own album, And then, of course, you've got Jill Jones, you've got The Family. I mean, I know it's only one album, but I really love it, and it's really good. Okay, maybe some of his later acts weren't so great, but I mean, you still got the MPG albums. I mean, Exodus is at least an entertaining album, and of course, Gold Digger's not that great, but I mean, it's got some okay cuts on it. The fact remains, and then he was producing later acts like, Tamar and Andy. Okay, Andy she definitely has some talent, definitely. So, I mean, Prince could do all this. And then, of course, we get down to one of the most important things, too, was Prince's performance on stage. Now, Prince has already done this, and already Prince could put on a show that could only be comparable to people like Michael Jackson. Prince would come out on stage, he'd be very versatile on stage now. I mean, most of the time when he was performing on stage, he loved to sing at most, play some guitar and piano. He wasn't like playing all instruments like he was in the studio. That's why he had the bands. I mean, but of course, and they'd have to rehearse all the music Prince had written for them, basically. So, I mean, realistically, 90% of the time, and then you saw Prince, he would dance, except for the last two tours, Prince was dancing his ass off on stage. He was singing up a storm. He just had so much energy running around. I mean, performing sex maneuvers on his instruments and other band members, jumping around the stage, screaming his head off. I mean, if you ever watch a Prince show, you just see how much energy he just puts into everything. So he was an amazing performer. I mean, and like whenever I went to a Prince concert, and I'm sure a lot of you, when you went to his concerts, I mean, your eye just remained on him the whole time because he was just that much of a visual dynamo, basically. And then, of course, so that's all his musical talent, why we like him so much. Okay, you can have all this talent and you can be a complete arsehole, say like Elvis Costello, for instance, or Bob Dylan. But Prince wasn't out around, like big public, soiree or anything. He kept most of the gossipers away from him. But Prince was always behind the scenes donating heaps of money to charity. He was building things like, he did the benefit concert for the dance theatre in Minneapolis. Apparently he was giving a lot of money to the United Negro College Fund. He was helping a lot of young artists into music, especially towards the end of his career, like people like Judith Hill and things. And a lot of younger artists, like Esmeralda Spalding, they all kind of, link back to Prince and saw him as a father and a helper. And his philanthropy and also even his family, I mean, Prince was always looking after his family, bailing out of problems. Like whenever Tyka needed to go into rehab, Prince put her in there, and like he gave his father writing credits on the songs and everything else. And I mean, so that's all the reasons why I really like the guy. So I mean, probably now you've watched this video, you probably see that it's no longer actually really funny. I mean, I know a lot of you fans and all my subscribers, I know you guys are all huge Prince fans too, but I mean, you all know just how hard it is to convince people who aren't really into Prince why you should like him and why you like him. Because, like I said in a lot of my videos, like is the Prince gay video and like people and like how I became a Prince fan, people's first impression of him was always like, oh, isn't he gay? Oh, didn't he remove a rib so he could suck it? Oh, didn't he change his name to a symbol? And that's all they see of Prince. They don't see how much more there is to him inside and just how much talent he just had and just how much music he put out there and just how much he meant to everyone. I mean, like, if he was a minimal artist, say someone like Ed Sheeran or Katy Perry, do you think people would be this making channels to him and releasing mountains and mountains of vault material? I mean, do you think they could have enough talent to spread out 39 albums and produce all these other acts? And that's the other thing too. I mean, longevity. I mean, Prince's first album came out in 1978. His last came out in 2015. I mean, he played music pretty much from the time he was 12 or 13 up to his death at age 57. This is not a flash in the pan modern act that maybe might last 5 years. This is someone who played music their whole life. Music was their lifeblood. And of course, the final point is work ethic. Prince never stopped. He was always working on some music. If he wasn't making music, he was performing it, or he was doing someone else's project. I mean, like, I read in the Dwayne Tootle book, at some times, he had like 3 or 4 projects on the go at once. I mean, he would go into one studio, record a cut for the Revolution, then he'd go into another studio and produce whatever the time was doing, and then he'd do an Apollonia 6 track and a Sheila E track, all in the same day. I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, he could just like change his music for the moods, and he could get into these artists. I mean, like, it's actually, in 2 ways, it's hilarious and it's a genius listening to Sex Shooter on originals, because, and it's funny, because you've got Prince playing, some wanton girl, wanting sex, but this is a man who normally plays a different kind of music, just totally fitting the role of an Apollonia 6 singing girl. And to be honest, his version of Sex Shooter is a million times better than the Apollonia 6 one. So again, this is a man who just had almost an unworldly genius. So I mean, the next time, someone comes up to you and they ask you what type of music, they say, I like Prince, and they're like, oh, isn't he a freak, Just point them in the direction of this video, or just give them a lecture about how he's just so much more than just some visual image of him back in the mid-80s or something, because there's just so much more to this guy. I mean, I like deep music. You know, I like a lot of artists: Michael Jackson, Elton John, you know, Stevie Wonder, all those types of artists. But none of them even come close to Prince because, first of all, because of Prince's genius and just his volume of work. I mean, this guy. I honestly think there could be people out there who could just never listen to anyone else but Prince, and they would be musically complete for the rest of their lives. I mean, I like to listen to a few more things, you know, and I have to admit, not every song I want to listen to has to be intellectually challenging, but Prince completes me. I mean, whenever I put his music on, it just cheers me up straight away. I mean, like I might be outside mowing lawns or doing some task or going for some onerous walk, and if I've got Prince in my ears, I mean, I'm just a happy guy. It's like I'm almost floating on air, basically. And that's the final thing. I mean, music should make you happy, and Prince makes me really happy. So there you are. There's my opening video for the year. Big long epistle about how much I love Prince and why I love Prince. Now, my challenge to you guys, especially if you have a Prince channel on YouTube, and if you don't, why don't you start one? You know, if you're good enough, I'll subscribe to you, and I'll put you out there, you know, and get all the ears of the big guys like Prince's friend and Mr. Ants and Nightchild, you know, and say why you like it, because I want to challenge. And if you do have a Prince challenge, I'll challenge you to this. Just do a basic video that's just explain why you like Prince so much, why you like his music. Just be interesting to see what everyone else comes up with, because you ask every Prince fan, they're going to tell you something different, basically. I mean, yes, there's many dimensions to my talent. You can't put me down. I see I'm come to harass you after I harassed Morris when he wrote his book. I didn't harass him. I was helping him. He needs to write it properly. Morris has a habit of getting carried away with the truth. There you are. May you all live to see the dawn. That's right, like Prince said, may you live to see... Oh, stop! Okay, you're probably wondering what those two spooky looking people above the Prince picture is. Okay, these are framed at the start of the year. I just realised this chap up here, this is my free great-grandfather Utuku Potaka, who is a great married chief. I just took the screen so you can see him a bit better. So there you are. Okay, that's a hand-coloured photo which dates from about 1875, and that's his fourth wife, my free great-grandmother. Her name is Roa Te Oira Goff, and she was half French. Okay, so interesting mix there. These are what we call in Māori the matipuna, or ancestors. Apparently it's good luck you don't put them above the door. It's like kind of like a marae thing. So I just thought they might spice the room up a bit, and I definitely get a lot better synergy of them in the room. Okay, they're not original paintings, but they're just like, you know, things I printed out on my printer. But I just thought I'd just add a bit of spice. I mean, I always did say when I did my purple wall, I'd be adding things to the wall. I didn't say necessarily they'd have anything to do with Prince, but, you know, I mean, I don't seem to mind being above the sort of weird Prince shrine. So there you are. May you all live to see the dawn. Strange that you'd include people on that wall other than me.